It's been a while. I would come up with an excuse, but I don't really have one. I just haven't had any ideas of what to film, and I kind of don't right now. So we're just kind of going with the flow, okay? I'm kind of making up stuff as I go along, so it's kind of just like a rant, and you guys witnessing it, but also not a rant because I don't want my content to be so negative all the time. You get me? You get me. So one of the things that happened recently was the freestyle chess tournament. I think that's what it's called, and it was at like Wiesenhaus in Germany. Ignore my shitty German pronunciation. I haven't learnt German since like year 8 or something, which would have been when I was like 13. And I'm 20 this year, so it's been a while, okay? And for those of you who don't know, Vincent Keymer, my goat, he won. He came first. So cool. But also, one of the things I kind of want to talk about a bit in this video is about young chess players in general and the sort of underappreciation of them in a way. So, for those of you who don't know, in the tournament as well, one of the players that were playing was Yavakir Sindorov. Again, ignore my pronunciation because it is not good. And basically, like in the tournament, it got to a part where they could choose like partners on who they wanted to play against in the semi-finals. I think I might be lying there. I think it was the semi-finals, and Yavakir Sindorov, I think he went first on who he wanted to pick, and he chose Hikaru Nakamura. Now Hikaru, he didn't even show up for this whole draw and everything because he just presumed that he was going to be playing against Magnus, which is, a fair enough assumption. A lot of players wouldn't want to play against Hikaru or Magnus because they are, obviously extremely talented players. But Yavakir Sindorov, he chose to play against Hikaru. And I just love it. I love the fact that he was like, yeah, no, I don't want to play against like somebody else. I want to play against Hikaru. And I mean, to be fair, even if he didn't win, which, spoiler alert, Yavakir Sindorov won against Hikaru, even if he didn't win, it'd be like such a good experience for him to be playing against someone like Hikaru. Like, Yavakir Sindorov, he got like a last minute invitation to the freestyle chess tournament. So to me, that sort of last minute thing then turned out to him beating Hikaru in freestyle chess. It's just really cool. It's really quite cool to see. And you may be wondering, Zara, if Vincent Keymer won the whole tournament, who did Vincent Keymer choose to play against? And Vincent Keymer chose to play against Magnus Carlsen. And he won. I think it's like best out of 3 or something. And yeah, it was. I didn't even watch the game. I didn't really. There's been like a whole thing about the freestyle chess tournament and it being called a world championship and FIDE not being very happy with them at all. But I think it's really cool to see that, these young chess players are getting these opportunities and they're smashing them out the fucking park. Like, they're doing so well. And I don't know, I think in chess, there's a bit of a trend cycle that happens, and it can be quite apparent sometimes that when a young chess player like Prague, for example, beats a different chess player like Magnus, then there's a big hype around them for a while. And it's like, oh my god, are they going to be the next world champion? Like, putting so much pressure onto them. And then, yet, in a few weeks, everybody sort of forgets about it and they forget how good that chess player is until they then go and play against like Hikaru and they beat him like fucking 7-0 or something. Like, people in chess seem to have like short-term memory sometimes. Which, like, I don't know. It's like, for example, in like Tata Steel Chess in like 2021, and like Andrei Yasipenko played against Magnus Carlsen, and he was like the first teenager to ever win a classical game against Magnus Carlsen whilst Magnus was world champion. And everyone was like, oh my god, like, this is crazy. And obviously it was like a really big moment and everything. And then like I don't know, like a few years later or even a few months later, you didn't really hear about it anymore. I don't know if that's just like the side of chess Twitter that I'm on or something, and like I just don't hear about these people very much. But I think that, like I said, there's an underappreciation for the younger chess players and how much effort that they actually put in, and quite often it goes unnoticed because of this sort of focus on chess players and everything sort of becoming like streamers. Um, so it becomes this trend cycle that moves very quickly, as we all sort of experience if you go on YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels or TikTok or something. Everything moves very quickly, and sometimes the content interest sort of tries to narrow itself into that sort of margin, and sometimes it doesn't always fit, which is also quite interesting. What I also think is interesting is if you like go on the freestyle chess tournaments Twitter page, um, there is a video that they released about the whole ordeal between FIDE and the freestyle chess tournament over it being called a world championship. And one of the clips that's used is like Magnus basically saying that he didn't want to go without a world championship title. Um, which, I mean, obviously he's been a world champion for so long, but I think it also sort of links back to the the scaredness that I described in a few videos back when we were talking about how Magnus and Jan now share a world chess championship, and how I think it's kind of crazy, and that some people on Twitter thought that it was because Magnus was too scared to go without a world championship, and I don't know. I think it's a really interesting thing, and he didn't even end up winning this section of the freestyle world championship. He came second, if I remember correctly. I think it went. So okay, if I can remember the podium, I didn't even watch it at all. If I remember it in my mind's eye, okay, it went. Uh, yeah, it went Vincent Keymer, Magnus Carlsen, Fabiano Caruana, and then Yavakir Sindarov. I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on it. If I'm wrong, I'll put something on the screen. If I'm right, I'll also put something on the screen. I think I'm right though. Maybe. To be fair, I don't know. At this point in the year, I kind of want to skip forward a bit. It's February. Just a couple days after Valentine's Day. Um, I was at work. It was fucking boring. I didn't do anything. um, but I think at this point in the year, I kind of want to skip forward to like June. Not only because that's when I have time off work, but also because that's sort of when Norway chess normally happens. I think it might be like May, June time this year. But also like the weather, and like I want to get back to seeing like good classical chess tournaments. And I don't like this idea that people want just to get rid of classical tournaments. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of chess in a way. Um, that's a very odd statement for me to make, I know. Um, but let me explain it. I think with classical chess, people spend so long like looking at the board, and it comes with such like long calculations and everything. I think it comes with such like a higher amount of pressure than it does in a way. It's like a different type of pressure than it is with rapid or blitz. Obviously, rapid and blitz are short, quick calculations. So if you get something wrong, it's kind of like, yeah, well, I didn't calculate it for like 30 minutes or something. It was just something I calculated with in like a few seconds and was like, yep, that looks logical. Move it across. Bish bash bosh, you're done. But I think with classical chess, if we sort of got rid of that, it would be losing that in a way almost art form. Sort of I don't know, it kind of comes across as this idea of chess becoming very rapid, no pun intended. And like I said, losing that art form of games that we've studied of, grandmasters and world champions long gone of their games and being like, oh my god, they spent like fucking 50 minutes calculating that line and it led to something amazing. I mean, like, even when you watch the World Chess Championship videos and games and everything, and it's like when it was Ding against Jan the Pomnishi, and there was this one really good line. I cannot remember which game it was from. Or like the full line, actually. I can't remember much, apparently. But it was basically a really, really good checkmate sort of trap. It wasn't even a trap, even. It was just like a mating net. And I remember watching it, and I think it was David Howell and I think Anish Giri that were commentating it. And they were trying so hard for so long to try and be like, what's Ding even like trying to do? Why is the evaluation bar liking this so much? And then all of a sudden, David spots it, and it's like, oh my god, like, how on earth? The calculation in that, it's so much more beautiful to me to see people's thought process in the calculation and like how long it takes for them to spot certain things in classical than it is in, rapid or blitz. See, I'd probably say my favorite chess formats go classical, rapid, blitz. I don't really like chess 960 or like Fischer random chess, or as they're trying to rebrand it to freestyle chess. I don't really like that much, but that's my opinion. Maybe it's just because it's like the first sort of format that I ever watched. Maybe it's that, but I genuinely don't think it is. I think a lot of people share that sentiment as well, though, that we don't want to get rid of classical chess. It's just, it would kind of suck. In fact, it would probably suck quite a bit. I mean, I know chess is good on TikTok and everything sometimes, keywords sometimes, but most of the time that's just people like being like, oh my god, Magnus is so good at chess. And it's like, yeah, but so are other players. And that brings me back to the younger players' sentiment of appreciate the younger players more. Like, give them more opportunities and everything. And I don't kind of like it how sometimes platforms such as chess.com kind of make tournaments into these like old versus young idea. It's like, will the new generation finally overtake the older generation in chess, and like blah 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 and all this type of thing. And I'm kind of like, just watch the fucking game. Just like watch them play. And I don't know, I don't like this older generation versus younger generation sentiment, and people being like, when will the younger generation finally overtake the older generation? And it's kind of like, yeah, there are so many good older chess players and everything, but also things like this take time, and sort of trying to boil it down to one tournament where, younger chess players is better than the older chess players, it doesn't make sense to me. Because if there's like 5 tournaments and like the younger chess players win one of the tournaments, okay, and you're saying, okay, the younger generation is finally overtaking the older generation, and then the other 4 tournaments are older generation win it, but you're still pushing this narrative, it doesn't really make sense to me. And I think that kind of makes sense. A rare thing that I said that actually makes sense. I know, go figure, crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. If there's anything you guys would like me to look at or make a video on or something, drop me suggestions in the YouTube comment section, or tweet at me on Twitter, or message me on Instagram, that type of thing. Like, I'll probably read it. In fact, I read all of my DM requests that people send me on Instagram. And on Twitter as well. I had to turn those off for a while, but they're back on at the moment. So yeah, it's quite interesting, I think. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.